There are a number of free and commercial tools that a person uses. I think the most known ones or popular ones are like Majestic,
Right.
The Open Site Explorer tool from the people at Moz.com, SEOmoz.com. There's a number of different tools that will look at links and comparisons. The Raven tool sets, you've got your rushes. There's the free stuff, just the easy things like backlink checker.
Ahrefs as well.
Ahrefs,
Yeah,
right, yeah.
the great little tool. All of those folks have what we call backlink aggregators. They'll pull your backlinks for you and put them up in some sort of order that you deem important, whether the private tools like Moz and Majestic have their own parameters that they use. I think they call it page authority, domain authority. Those are from the tool company does that. But they also report, what Google calls PageRank. I guess, any one of those would be fine to use. Right. Some of them do extra things, some of them don't.
Right. Well, I was just looking for generic because, people, that's something that I've noticed. We get a lot of questions, whether it's on the blog or email, my link profile doesn't look good. Should I, write all the webmasters? Should I take all the links out? And, so people, this just about a month ago, there was a frenzy about, how do you do that? So I just wanted to get a little more clarity just for, the people that aren't, SEOs or marketing that just, are learning about the Google changes and link building and so on and so forth.
There's Gabs, there's a little tip that you see it circulated quite a bit amongst SEOs. I'll share it here in case someone hasn't heard it. But if you're using one of those tools that we talked about, what you can do are pull the titles off of those pages. So let's say all your links show up, all the pages where your links reside, they show up, and you can look at titles. And in the titles, typically people have their keywords, yeah? And so you can pull the keyword out and see where, using that keyword on Google and search for it, just pop it into the machine. If that page comes up, in the first 50 results, that's a good thing. If your link is sitting on a page that's way in the background someplace, it's probably not a link that's doing a lot of good for you. It might be way back there for a reason. It might have been moved back there. So you can kind of keep an eye on that. If you do that enough times, and you also do it to your competitors enough times, you begin to see why things rank the way they do. You can see patterns. And you then become very familiar very quickly with your backlink profile.
Right.
And of course, patterns is specifically what algorithms are looking for.
Exactly.
Right. Which brings me to the next question. Now, we all know that there's cookie cutter campaigns that many providers are still pushing online. We get emails every other day from people, please give us, 200 directories, 50 social networks, 5 blogs, and a partridge in a pear tree. So we know that approach is passé, and everybody has to be individually tailored, if you will. But what are some things that need to be considered in deciding, what are maybe some parameters or main focus that a company should in order to put their best foot forward in regards to link building?
I always do when people were trying to build strategies for people and blueprints, I come back and I say, I need your primary keywords. Those are your basic and your strong keywords, and then what we call the long tail, or your secondary keywords. If you sit down on the machine and you go through and you put each one of them in and you search on it, both on Google and Bing, what comes back are some commonalities. Some search terms don't bring back any news listings, bring back no YouTube listings, bring back no image listings, 0. Okay. Some of them bring back SERPs that are full of that type of thing. it's important that when you're starting to develop marketing campaigns that you keep in mind where you fall in that fray. Universal search is still here. It's still strong. YouTube is the #2 search engine now out there, more so than even Bing, but behind Google still. Google. So those are the types of things that you want to increase your visibility on in the news, in images, because it brings another way for you to become seen in the regular search engine results. So you do want to take a look at that when you're developing strategies. Do you need to develop some YouTube strategies, or video strategies, I should say, with a home base on YouTube? Images. You know, are you doing a lot of image marketing? Is the most under talked about. Is that a right term? Under talked about. Least talked about.
Sure.
Tactic out there. It's always a little surprising to me, and we don't talk more about image marketing, but you know, whatever. And then of course news. You know, that's usually short term, but the content a lot of times can be taken and used long term for different campaigns. So you need to go into the SERPs first and take a look at what's there. If Wikipedia is in the first 2 results, you know, and is staying there, it might be a good idea to find a way to get yourself included on those Wikipedia pages, right? Or it might be a really good idea to backlink those Wikipedia pages and see who's linking to them and what it is that's making those Wikipedia pages so darn strong. Yeah, I get it that Wikipedia is strong, but those pages themselves are showing for a reason. So maybe you need to find out what it is, you know, backlink those sources. You should always backlink the sources that are ahead of you, always. Just keep, if they change and you want to work at trying to get on those sources and comparable sources and more of them. I don't care what anybody says, more links is good. And so, you know, those are the types of things, you know, so many people focus on really big, huge link baiting and viral and all that. That's all awesome, and that helps you, but do the basics first. And that's the basics.
Okay.
Well, you know, Deb, I've known you for a while, not as well as a lot of people, but I know that, you know, it was obvious early on that your knowledge is a lot broader than just a narrow focus on link building. You've got a good handle on many aspects of SEO. I know you do. You spend a lot of your time staying abreast of developments and the algorithms and the effects. So I'm going to ask you to step out of your normal comfort zone a little bit. What are 2 or 3 primary recommendations you would make for online marketers and SEOs, you know, webmasters going forward with watching what has been happening with Google, the direction they seem to be moving in? What are a few of the primary focal points that you think people should be focusing on?
You know, I think one of the big things going forward, and it's obvious to me that what Google is doing by what it's building, at least what it's telling us that it's building, and the way that things are going in the SERPs, that they're putting a lot of emphasis on what I called earlier the small machines, you know, the mobile and the laptop. And we use that term mobile to encompass a lot of different things, whether it is tablets. I always have to stop myself from saying iPad because it's like, you know, Kleenex, tissue paper, using tablets, using smartphones, and so on and so forth. It's definitely going that way. Somebody announced the other day, and forgive me for forgetting, that they're doing, you know, the watch, the iWatch, like they have the glasses for Google, they're doing a watch, same kind of thing. It's all coming, for some reason, trying to make it easier so that you can access information and have, you know, be connected to the rest of the world very easily. In order to do that, the type of content and the type of the way that you market to people has to change. And a lot of that is technical in nature, and it goes way over my head. You know, I don't get it. But what I do know is that I need to create sound bites based on the demographic that's appealing and appeals to those small devices. You know, you're not going to find your boomers wearing Google glasses initially. I mean, that might come down the road, but not initially. So a lot of this is about knowing who your market is, doing a lot of surveys, talking to people, doing one-on-one chats, you know, doing newsletters where you get people to respond, doing live chat, you know, on-site live chat. You really have to kind of get in your person's head anymore. Even if you're a small affiliate marketer, you know, who just has a bunch of sites and that's what you make your living on, those days of just having sites and depending on AdSense, that's kind of in the past. Really have to know what people want so that you can market it and provide that kind of material, even if it's just your shoes or widgets that you're selling. It does have to be different for those different segments. So, you know, I would say having a really good handle on knowing your demographic. We don't spend enough time on that, I think, in SEO. I don't think we spend enough time knowing that girls between the age of, you know, 18 and 29 are buying this or doing that, or maybe we do and we just don't talk about it. I'm not really sure. So I think being able to optimize for those entities that are more tying in with offline. I also think at some point in time, Google is going to start to measure what's happening offline with your online actions. And I don't want to hijack this, you know, away from links because it really kind of gets out of that realm, but I think that's a reality that's going to happen. And probably is happening or will happen sooner than we think. But I think mostly, to answer your question, Doc, I think it's mostly about demographics at this point. If you know who these people are and what they're doing, you can change your marketing to meet it instead of just trying to be generic.
Good point.
To give the listeners a little more flavor about maybe some projects or a campaign that you can share with us of, you know, how you connected the dots from A to Z, something that's, you know, that you consider to be a significant aha moment that you did. Can you share something about that with us, or?
I'll tell you what I cannot live without. I have, besides my Diet Coke, that's a joke, that's a big joke. I cannot live without my alert services. And, you know, for a long time I used Google Alerts. I didn't stop using Google Alerts because I thought their quality went downhill. As a matter of fact, I didn't think their quality went downhill. They were doing just fine for me. But too much Google is too much Google. And so I started using TalkWalker. And I also pay for a couple of private ones like Giga Alerts. They're private, or commercial, not private, they're commercial. And I probably have on any given day 350 alert terms that come in.
Wow.
Yeah, so that I'm constantly watching. And I have them so that they feed into, the URLs feed into my email into a separate account, and then I feed them into an RSS feeder so that I can read everything that comes along.
Nice.
So I'm always watching. And out of that 350, I would say probably 75 of them are names of people within the 3 search engines. I find out more information from people who give speeches from Google than anything because they say things and I guess they forget that they're being reported or something, I don't know. But I find out a lot of information on that. I cannot live without my buffer, which is a broadcast channel, you know, for things on Twitter and for Facebook and now on Google+. They added Google+ I can't talk. They put Google+ into it now, so it does Twitter, Google+, and Facebook. It will spit things out.
Right.
And I also love my Instapaper. I probably read, I don't know, 150 blogs a day, you know, that I skim, and I just pull them out, and I pull them into the Instapaper, and then I spend one afternoon every week going through it all keeping them and not keeping them.